There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonkō Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonkō Table, the table that will make their dreams come true. Yo, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Yonkō Table. I'm your Yonkō host, DrJaceAttorney, and today, this week, once again, we ponder another question for the fourth time. What if? And in this scenario, we're asking, what if Doctor Strange lost his heart? And of course, this was an emotional episode with twists and turns all around. But before we get into the nitty gritty, we have Supernovas and Yonkō at the table. With me, as always, is fellow Yonkō GrandMasterHoop. Still munching on some leftovers, I see, huh?
It is leftovers. Yes, I made chicken marsala last night. It's pretty banging.
So fancy.
I was hungry, but I'm hungry to talk about this episode too. So glad to be here, Dr. J. It's always a pleasure to be at the table.
All right. And with us as well, returning Supernova, Rai. We have not seen Rai in quite some time, man. Where have you been? Where have you been, Rai?
Man, it's good to be back. Between work and this Wednesday thing, man, I don't even get out of work till 8. But
oh, damn.
Made an exception here today to be here with you guys because I love that episode and we're about to talk about it right now.
Yeah. All right. Lucky to have you on. Excited. And last but not least, we have Supernova Toasty. Toasty, any are you good today? Any events? Anything happen?
Well, nothing new. I got hurt on the battlefield. So lucky for me, I got to leave work early today just because of that. I didn't have to stay till 7. So I'm happy to be here. I don't want to miss the last couple one or the last one, but don't worry, I'm still standing. I'm waiting for the president to give me a phone call because my injury, I was on life support. So
President Biden's going to give you a phone call for your injury?
If the minute's still senile, yes, I'm waiting for his phone call.
Give us Toasty, why don't you just tell us your story, how you injured yourself and what you injured.
I work at a zoo practically, and the animals were causing trouble. I had to take care of stuff, and I accidentally hurt my finger. Well, you can't see because of the background. It's horrible. It's better that it's censored because, believe me, if some people are eating right now, I would not want them to have accident. But I'm standing strong. I'm waiting for my medal, my Purple Heart. So,
all right.
Tired. Yeah, we're ready for today.
President Biden, you're on notice. Be sure to dial up Mr. Toasty for his Medal of Honor, Purple Heart for his services at the local Florida Zoo. But all right. So, what if episode 4? We're 4 episodes into this season, and I guess I want to throw this question at you guys before we go straight into the specifics of this episode. Do we think What If so far is pushing the ideas of, like, I guess their namesake, what if, and then going on with it? Or do we still think they're just scratching surface level, just from what we've seen so far with episode 1, 2, 3, and then I guess with 4 this week? What do you guys think? With Doctor Strange.
I guess I can go first. I like it so far. Apart from the first episode, which I believe they should just make an episode called What If Episode 1 didn't exist. But apart from the first episode, 2, 3, and 4 have been pretty solid. The last episode today was not as strong as the one with Chadwick Boseman.
Okay, so the Star-Lord episode.
The Star-Lord episode, because I'm trying to think what was last week's episode. What was it?
It was the What If Earth's Mightiest Heroes Fell. So like Hank Pym was going around killing the Avengers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so it was not as strong as those two in my opinion. The third one was okay. It was still good. This one was really amazing though, because I like how it showed that this is supposed to be a character that is the most level-headed out of all the Avengers. That's the logic I got with it. He's a genius, like 10 PhDs. He is always in control, even when he was playing Thanos and the Avenger movie. To see him like get corrupted like that, that was really great. So they did a really good job. I'm sure they can do better, but it's their first season, first couple episodes. I know there were going to be some hit or miss, but this one was definitely a hit. They did really well.
All right.
I thought they did a really good job. I like how this allows them to like explore concepts like or things that we see in the comics that it just doesn't really make sense in the live action films,
Right.
in my opinion. But like What If allows us to do that, like when in the last episode, I guess, when they start talking about when they start bringing in when Hulk, that really bad 2008 Hulk movie.
Oh, good. We're on the same page. That Hulk movie was bad.
Like
It was amazing, though.
like if you tried to bring that in like in today's live action Marvel, everybody's gonna look at you like that was terrible. Why are you trying to do this? But in What If, it's like, oh, it's cartoon, it's kitschy, we can still make it part of our universe without like bringing back that really bad Bangs Hulk and that really bad Abomination. Like I think it's cool. I think with I mean, obviously, if your bar is Star-Lord episode, it's not gonna live up to that. But I thought they did a really good job.
Right. No, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat with you guys. Like, Star-Lord still reigns supreme, the Star-Lord episode, and that's the bar I've been judging every episode onward and previously, because I retroactively lowered my score for Captain Carter, as one should. But I think out of the 4 we have so far, I really even though the execution was a little off for last week's episode, I still enjoyed it. And for this one, I think I would say it's better than last week's episode. Just because it went with an emotional take, and the ending I wasn't expecting. Right, because and we'll get into it as we talk about it, but it's one of those things where I feel like the ending of the episode elevated it to like a higher, I guess, rating for me than episodes 3 and obviously episode 1. I don't think it got to the level of episode 2 with Chadwick Boseman, because I mean that thing juggled so much and it did it so well, like so many characters, so many different scenarios, so many unique takes on different characters as well. And they did it within the same time as all these other episodes have, within like 30, 45 minutes or so. So I would say this week's episode, it was a little bit more of a simple what if scenario, where it's, what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? Which is kind of funny, because going into the episode, I thought it was going to be like, just judging from the episode title, I thought it was gonna be something where like, instead of having that car accident, Doctor Strange like gets corrupted by darkness or something in the car crash, because that's what the titles make it seem like, because like even last week's episode, we had what if Earth's mightiest heroes fell, and by that logic, I'm thinking, oh, so like what if Loki won? What if Loki beat the Avengers? But that wasn't the case with last week's episode. So with this one, I like the direction they took with instead of him losing his hands, he lost his love interest, which her name, I mean, Christine, the one time we hear her is in Doctor Strange.
Not
Christine.
the one. Well, I mean, yes, in the original film.
My bad. My dumbass thought he was getting like a heart transplant or something.
I didn't think it was Christine either until she came up on the scene, and I was like, oh, I see where this is going. It was because when she got in the car, that didn't happen in the original movie.
Right. It was just him, right? It was just him in the car.
Yeah, it was just him.
Okay.
So the moment I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. Depressive romantic, like Nicholas Sparks movie going on here. I'm just gonna say this. T'Challa Star-Lord has set the bar, as y'all all have said. And it's just, I think it's just because, like you said, it juggled so much and did it so well. It's like these other episodes are not really attempting to even juggle as much. Like, I really like the fact that they were able to include all these characters in that Star-Lord episode. And then here, we only get Strange, the Ancient One, Wong, and Christine, and then like one new face who really didn't even provide much of a background of who the character is.
And it's an actual new face, right? Like we haven't seen him in MCU
have not
proper.
Obang, no, we have not seen that character before. And me watching as a viewer, just knowing what they could do within the realm of animation and the fact that, you know, it's not a movie, you could play around with so much. I don't think they're playing around. It's a sandbox, man, and they built one little tower. You need
a castle,
4 walls, a castle, the thing where the ballistics shoot from. Come on, man, have fun with it. But yeah, this episode definitely was different as far as the emotional tug. You felt that more than anything in this episode. And then yeah, I guess the ending was good, but yeah, we'll get into it, but
what?
I'm still not satisfied.
You know what?
I'm not
Okay.
satisfied. I'm
Okay.
satisfied.
Fine. We'll definitely save that for the end. So what's the synopsis of this week's episode? It's basically a swap out, you know, of because again, I've seen Doctor Strange once, and I was in theaters back whatever year it came out during Phase 2. I saw it once.
Phase 3, man.
Phase 3, whatever. But you know, I remember that scene. I remember because, you know, it wasn't Strange like kind of like a cocky bastard a little bit, like he was kind of arrogant.
100%, yeah.
And I remember he was driving some sportsy car and he got into a crash and his hands were in the rain. Yeah.
In the rain, yep.
And his hands were destroyed, basically, like. And you know, he was a surgeon, right? He was a surgeon.
Yeah.
So you need those bad boys. You need those for surgery and whatnot. So for them to take out that part and put in Christine as the part of his life that he lost, it more or less played out the same way as the Doctor Strange movie, because it triggered the same reaction. He went globetrotting, he found the Ancient One, he trained under the arts of magic, and you know, I'm assuming the Doctor Strange movie happened as planned from before. But you know, we get to that point where now, based off of, you know, him losing Christine, we now get that divergence from the official timeline, which is when what exactly happens? It's when he has the time stone, right? And then he defeats Dormammu, and I guess that's where the timeline splits.
No,
right?
It's when they the Ancient One. No, okay. So first he used the time stone to go back in time, right?
Right.
And when he went back in time, the Ancient One from that present time came to him and said, "You better stop what you're doing, because this is gonna lead down this dark path," you know.
Right.
And you know, he's like, "No, I love her. I'm gonna do what I want." Typical Stephen Strange style. And when she hit him, you know,
that's what's
she tried to stop him right there. She basically said, "I'm gonna create," and I keep relating it to Rick and Morty. Remember that Rick and Morty episode where there was like the split view?
Oh
yeah. That's essentially what was going on.
Right.
You had a split view with, you know, the one Strange who's gonna keep trying to get Christine back, and then the other Stranger said, "Okay, this is a bad idea."
Okay.
But it was the same universe, though. It was the same timeline.
Right. Oh wait, no, I thought it was two different timelines.
No,
it was the same timeline that she split in two. That was the entire thing, my dude.
Okay.
That's why the Dark Strange existed in the same timeline as the good Strange that had not done anything.
He was ahead in the future. He had been sucking the souls out of those things for what they said was like a century.
Centuries.
Centuries.
Yes. Which I mean, I guess we can go into that point. So basically in this episode, what happens? Doctor Strange is trying to prevent the death of Christine, and no matter what he does, Christine keeps on dying. I thought it was gonna be like one of those forced loops, where no matter what, she was gonna die in a car crash, no matter what he tried to do. But the universe had it out for this lady. Like she was getting shot. She was getting
that was so sad. That was so sad.
She got burned too?
Yeah, the building caught on fire. Remember when he was in the news the day he didn't go pick her up?
Oh, that's right. He's like, yo, let me stay out of her. Let me stay out of her hair.
And she cooked. So the universe said, nah, you die in one way or another. So let's get it over with.
I mean, and that's a question I wanted like to present to you guys, because I mean, I want to know, because I'm probably thinking too much into it, but you know, I understand the Ancient One mentioned in this episode. You know, her death was an absolute point or a fixed point.
An absolute. That's what it was. Yeah.
Right. And you know, because of that, she said, you know, this is the thing that triggers you to become the Sorcerer Supreme. What I want to know is what warrants Christine's death to be an absolute point. Is it because Doctor Strange eventually becomes the Sorcerer Supreme and that's an important role in the universe, or is an absolute point like a fixed moment in a character's growth where you cannot change it because that character won't be who they are later on, if that makes sense? Like,
but it's both things. But if the character doesn't become who he is, he doesn't save the universe anyway, so the universe will be doomed.
Right, so, but like you know how Doctor Strange is like the Sorcerer Supreme is like a very, very high title in the MCU mythos. So I'm asking, is the absolute point because he's the Sorcerer Supreme, like he's such a big figure, or is it because it's just tied to his character? Like would a fixed point be if he went back in time and squished that spider from biting Spider-Man? You know, like is that something that no matter what, it has to happen because he becomes Spider-Man, or is it just more like Doctor Strange's title as the Sorcerer Supreme?
I think
my understanding of it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, Ray.
I think that was my understanding of it. Like there wasn't a. I guess my understanding of absolute point was what you said, the latter. Like this needs to happen for you to become that.
Okay, so it's tied to the individual character.
Yeah, like
okay.
So like you said, that spider in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Verse, spider biting him, make him Spider-Man. Iron Man, the missile hitting him, and then him getting kidnapped by the 10 Rings, it makes him the Iron Man, and so on and so on and so on. I think that's my understanding of absolute point. I don't think it has anything to do with him being Sorcerer Supreme. Having said that, I was really frustrated with this absolute point. He did not care for Christine this much in the actual movie.
Did he really?
No, he was an ass to her.
I remember he was an ass. Yeah. I didn't remember that he was
not in love with her like this. So I'm like, I don't believe this.
He was in love, but he was definitely more career driven and ego driven than this portrayal of Strange, for sure.
Like I saw that, I was like, because my girlfriend pointed it out, and I was like, I don't believe that. Like, nah, this is your no, fuck this.
Isn't the logic though, at least in this universe, since she died, eventually he did mature to become less of an asshole, so he started feeling guilty that she had died.
No, I guess what I'm saying is I'm not disputing that. What I'm disputing is how much he's into her in this one. Like,
before she dies?
Yeah, before she dies. I'm like, no.
Well, I mean, I guess it's an alternate take, an alternate
it's an interesting comparison because the original didn't lose Christine. Yeah. So we can't really judge what he would do.
No, I can't. I'm not talking about like after. I'm talking about like even before. Like, they broke up in the original movie.
Yeah, they did. They were not together at the time of the movie. So it's tough to say for sure, but I could definitely say he was a little less arrogant as far as when he went to like Carmitage and learned the sorcery. It was more of a healing. He didn't necessarily go there to find a way to bring her back. It wasn't until after the whole Dormammu incident was he like, oh, she steals power from this. Maybe if I go find this library, I can actually find, So he did the good deed of beating Dormammu before he focused his sights on Christine. So,
right.
It's a toss up. I can't really say if the OG Strange would do the same thing. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility, but the simple fact of the matter is she had to die, apparently, in this universe. She just had to die. And he couldn't lose his hands in this universe. It had to be her death.
It had to, yes. Maybe because that was, actually, you know what? Maybe it's because it's tied to his character in that universe. In our MCU, his focus was his career, like you were saying earlier. So in order for him to be more humble, that event had to steal something from him that he was so sucked into. So in our universe, or in the MCU universe, it was his hands, which represents his career, that made him more, I guess, humble. But in this universe, it was Christine, which I'm assuming he was probably a dick to everyone else except Christine, but it's like the dude seemed really chill, and then the universe just, tossed him the middle finger and said, okay, now become Doctor Strange, please, and we'll kill your wife as well, or your girlfriend, whoever. But I'm guessing it's because it's tied to him, like that's what he's really invested in. But a lot of this is just conjecture and us guessing. What if didn't really show us a lot of this stuff. So but okay, so Doctor Strange, or I guess Evil Strange, however you want to call him, he realizes that he cannot fix this point in time. This girl's getting shot, burned, ran over, all of the above, unfortunately.
What a terrible montage.
I know, it's really sad because you have Christine smiling the whole way, oblivious to all of it, and it's sad because you have Strange knows what's gonna happen. He doesn't even have time to explain it to her, or he doesn't even know how to explain it to her, and she's oblivious. It's almost sad in that regard.
I do have a question with that. Why is it when he reversed time, he always reversed it back to the same point?
I'm guessing because that was the point she always died, no matter what.
I mean, yeah, but if you think about the part where the robber walked into the shop, he didn't have to reverse it back to the car. He could have just reversed it back to a minute or two before the robber got into the pizza shop. And from there, he would have been able to stop the robber. It's a simple human. So he could have been ready up a spell quickly. The minute that dude comes in, blast him against the wall and turn him into mashed potato.
But even if he stopped the robber, something else would have happened. Right. I think that was the whole point.
Like the universe had it out for her. Like no matter what was prevented, something else was gonna come in and take it. I mean, and that was
a mean way to put it. The universe had it out for her.
It did though.
But that makes me wonder, what if he took her into that house, the Doctor Strange's house, the one where it's supposed to be almost outside of the universe?
Oh, the Sanctorum.
Yeah, what if he took her into that? She would have been outside of the universe control, and
that's true.
That work.
That's
possibly
true.
But
I know
no way to go there.
Wasn't there a death scene where how do you call it? Well, actually, first of all, he has to have access to that, which at that point in the past he wouldn't.
But he should know how to get there, though, right? Because he's still Doctor Strange. He should still know the way to teleport there. So the only reason he didn't have access to it before is because he didn't know about it before. But once he knew about it, regardless of when you go back in time, you should be able to get there. Because I think they did that in the Avengers movie. But I can't remember.
Assuming that the time stone lets you go wherever you want to, whenever you want to. What if it's periods? Like you can go here, and then this is there's certain stops that you can go to.
I would agree with that.
That was what I was theorizing, because I'm like you, Hosty. I'm like, why doesn't he just?
Well, remember the scene with the apple? He did that entire thing with the apple got eaten, and he reversed it to before the apple got eaten. And let's be real, that was to be a scene if you were eating an apple, that's a couple minutes.
Right.
You're not sitting here eating an apple over 10, 12 hours. It's an apple, it was 3 bites, and you're done. So the fact that they showed that scene showed that he had some kind of expertise into time management or time control, but at the same time, they went back to that point. Like the scene, for example, I know one of the scenes when they die is he practically gave up when she drove the car, and he closed his eyes before the car hit them from the back, because the car crashed into them, and he just closed his eyes and realized he knew it was coming. I'm like, my man, if you know it's coming, use something. At least try something. That could have maybe changed something, and that would have made the episode better if it was him trying to be one step ahead of death at every moment and trying to beat it. That would have been amazing. Even though the episode was great, but... Are you saying you would make a better Doctor Strange than Doctor Strange? I did. Honestly, Hollywood doesn't know what they're missing. I am a soldier. I fought and injured myself on the battlefield against goddamn animals. But if I was in Hollywood, y'all would not be ready for me. My vision... It's a good thing I'm not there. My vision will probably blind people. So it's a blessing and a curse.
I just think the rules of the time stone are very loose, and they really haven't explained so much how it really works. For example, when he used it to see the 14 million ways it played out. Like, what if he died? Does he still get to keep seeing it and then just run it back? You know, they didn't really explain the logistics of the time stone. So I guess we have to come up with our own rules and whatnot, because I could not sit here and tell you this is what it can do, this is what it can't do. They likely go ahead, finish. I was just gonna say, you have that what Toasty said with the apple, where that apple did not move, but you saw it rewind and eaten and come back from being eaten. But then you saw him go from one place to a whole nother place, turning back, X amount of years or whatever, to the point where she died. But you don't know, it's I feel it's just convoluted. You don't really know the real rules of it all. I feel like, oh no, go ahead. Well, unless the sorcery adds its own rules for a spell, Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, maybe it just to fit the narrative purposes of whatever story it's trying to tell. That's the rules that it has. So, like in this scenario of what if, these are the rules that the time stone can do. Whereas in Infinity War and Endgame, or wherever he used the time stone again, that was the rule with specific to that narrative in which he was using it. That was the rule for what they were trying to do. Because again, it is pretty convoluted. When you involve time, it's always going to be convoluted. Time travel, time manipulation, it's crazy. So what happens next? So he's endlessly repeating all these deaths and whatnot, and Ancient One tries to stop him from continuing his madness, and that's where she splits the timeline, or splits him into two, so that there's a good Strange and evil Strange. And then he goes to this new place. I don't think this was mentioned in the MCU yet. The Library of Cagliostro. Caglioso, yeah. Caglioso. Or Cagliostro, or yeah. Okay. It was mentioned. But we never been there before, right? Well, the library wasn't mentioned, but the book, I believe, the bad guy Mad Mikkelsen's character in Doctor Strange was trying to pull from that book. Okay. Like he pulled those pages from it. Yeah. And those were like the forbidden spells or the locked up spells. And Strange pulled the spells too. That's where he learned that time stone one that he did on Dormammu and made that time loop. Okay, it was from that book. So the name Cagliostro has been mentioned. Okay. We have not seen the library, which is where he ends up now. Okay. And that's where we see this new character too, right? Obang. Right. Do we like him? No. I mean, he's there. Yeah, I feel like we're just kind of there. He didn't really black guy, man.
I'm kind of familiar with him from reading the comics. He's supposed to be Cagliostro in the comics.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. So, and he's actually a recurring villain in the Doctor Strange comics, and he's actually Doctor Doom's teacher.
Ooh. Okay. Actually, I saw that headline. I did see that headline that he did teach Doc Doom.
And like this I didn't know. I did a deep dive. The book that he uses is the same book that Wanda had at the ending. That book when she was in the WandaVision? Yeah.
Oh, in the basement.
Yeah, in the basement, the temporal dimension, the book that she was reading, that's the book that he used to make all those spells. That's like the dark spells and stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that was I thought he was gonna be like a villain from the get-go, but I guess they switched that up in What If.
I mean, they even asked him, or he even asked him, like, are you Cagliostro? And he's like, nah, man, I'm not. You can relax. So
you know what? Now that we know this, I want to know if he's going to appear at the end of the Spider-Man movie, because Doctor Strange does appear in Spider-Man.
Right.
Well,
and not only that, we know that Fantastic Four is coming out in a couple years. Doctor Doom might be in that movie, and that guy might be getting set up. So
I have a theory from the end of this episode that might tie in to everything. If Darce was here, he could probably back me up, but we'll see. I mean, I'm a Doctor Strange fanatic aficionado.
Please.
Well, Dr. Chase, you have the book also. Don't you have the
I do have the encyclopedia.
Book?
Yeah.
Bring it out when we have those talks so you can flip to the book and be like, guys, I got you. Give me 1 minute.
I do need to open that.
Because if you're not doing it, I'm gonna get it myself and I do the job.
Of course.
But I don't want to do that though.
Of course not. So right, Doctor Strange comes in and he realizes in order for him to break that absolute point in time, he needs a crap ton of power. In order for him to do that, it involves him sucking the life out of a bunch of first he tries to borrow the power of that Cthulhu looking monster, which we saw from Captain Carter, a returning monster, I guess.
Right, same one, right?
I think so.
Thought it was the same one.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
I mean, it was the only thing with tentacles coming out of a portal. So I
think it's called Shuma Gorath. Am I pronouncing
Shuma Gorath?
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Okay.
Just this interdimensional traveling octopus guy.
I love that line where he's like, "Mystic beings do not bargain."
Yeah, of course not. Look at this dude. He's a giant octopus. What's he got a bargain for?
Isn't Dormammu a mystic creature or no?
Yeah, Dormammu.
He bargained. Oh, I guess that was the point of Doctor Strange.
Well, Dormammu definitely has more of a conscience too.
Right. A lot of these things he was like, they were like creatures, I guess.
Right.
Like just animals, bugs. So that octopus thing like basically, screwed him up. So then now he has to start small, building up his he has to start grinding, he has to start leveling up, with the small fries. So he has to fight those level 1 wolves in the forest. But in this case, the level 1 wolf is a gnome, a garden gnome.
That was hilarious, dude. You can see the fear in the gnome's eyes when he realized he done goof. He was like, oh shit, this man is trying to eat me.
Yeah, he had a scowl coming in. He was like, oh man, who am I gonna screw up today? Oh shit. And I mean, so Doctor Strange, he's gobbling up all these monsters. And I thought it was a nice touch that they said that he was here for centuries. I thought it was something that
damn. I thought it just adds weight to his plight here.
His commitment to Christine. Like, I mean, centuries, man, like going at it, just sucking the life out of all these monsters. Eventually he gets to the Cthulhu. I know Ray mentioned the name, but I'm going to keep calling him Cthulhu. I can't remember the other name. But, he eventually gets to the Cthulhu, monster. And he actually has a bit of a moment with the black guy. The black guy.
Oh bang.
He has a moment.
Black guy.
You didn't want to call him black?
No, because I was genuinely trying to remember his name, because I know
the dark skin man. Or the non-melanin skin man, or full melanin skin, or whatever the term is. There we go.
Oh bang. He had a moment with him where it showed how long he took, and the man was old. He was on his deathbed. Dr. Strange said, hey, I could reverse time, or try to make you immortal. Oh bang's like, nah fam, peace out. And I guess he dies or whatever. So what's the next piece that happened? He has to unite with the good Strange, right?
Right. I forget how is it the ancient one that tells him that you were split in half or something?
The ancient one tells the good one that he was split in half.
Oh yeah, it just kind of rewinds, doesn't it?
Right.
And she tells the good one, your dark half is coming for you.
And then he's like, oh, he's already
figured it out. Yeah, he figured it out by himself.
Right.
We don't know how long it took between the time that the black guy died and him finding the good Doctor Strange. Because for all we know, a couple more centuries could have happened, which explained why he was so psychotic by the time the good Doctor Strange got to him. Because when the Oblong black guy died.
Oolong? This is it. What, the pig from Dragon Ball? Is that
Oolong P, bro?
Oh, when the magician died, the dark skin magician.
The dark magician.
The dark skin magician.
The dark magician, dude, with 2,500 attack points.
When the dark magician died, he seemed to be sane because you notice that he was still wanting to save people. He was not screwing the head, but by the time the good Doctor Strange got to him, the man was losing it, and he lost it for a second because he started transforming, and then the flame kind of mellowed down and he calmed down. So for all we know, he was alone again after that for a couple more 100 years trying to figure out exactly what happened and how to save Christine, and he got to that conclusion, which would have been amazing if we saw that. Because if he dropped a line like, I've been looking for you for 3,000 years, we would have been, oh shit, my man, you lost it.
Yeah, there had to have been there had to have been some time between him, like, you know, saying goodbye to the dark magician Obang and him, you know, finding out the second, you know, Doctor Strange. I would like to think it took another couple centuries to maybe find him because, you know, he has to figure it out first how to get there, and the fact that he needs to know that he needs to reunite with him so that he can power up, save his loved one, all that stuff. But yeah, he finds the good Doctor Strange, and they have a battle. I'm kind of divided on how the battle played out because, I mean, again, it's kind of like what GrandMasterHoop was saying, where, you know, this is like an animated series, and this is Doctor Strange, so you could really go all out with like the powers and the spells this man is throwing. This is not only that, this is a centuries old Doctor Strange. He's like hundreds and hundreds of years old. I see him using more or less the same spells that OG Doctor Strange is using. You know, the whole the fisty shields, the fire whips or whatever. Those are cool, and the animation was nice, but this is 500 plus year old Doctor Strange. I wanted to see more spells. Not only that, I was expecting this Doctor Strange to whoop the other one's ass, the good one. Like, I don't know. Is that just me? You know, more experience?
I mean, he won.
He did win.
He won. But yeah, good Strange put up a good fight. You're right.
Right.
But maybe because they were split, that put them both at a handicap. Okay. Like, they were never going to reach full power because they were split.
Possibly. But then the counter argument is he had an entire library of full forbidden books that he could have studied the entire time. He had centuries, we can assume, to prepare for that battle. You cannot be going in at the same strength as the good one. Even though they had the same strength, he should have been able to use more different spell, more dark spell, all of that thing. And he didn't do that. He used the basic spell. And you guys mentioned it's an animated series. Don't hold back. This man should have dropped the moon on the good Doctor Strange. Like,
well, like Infinity Gauntlet style?
Yes, my dude. Just boom, teleport the moon. Or do some crazy JoJo stuff like Dio did when he teleported. He stopped time and dropped a tractor on top of JoJo's head.
Oh, a roller now. Yeah. GrandMasterHoop has no idea what we're talking about.
You don't watch JoJo?
No, he's not a JoJo
What do you do with your time? What do you do with your time, my man?
He rewatches Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, Batman! Are you still playing the?
That was months ago. No, I finished all of them. It was months ago.
Now he's replaying the Batman Arkham games.
No, I've been watching Jimmy Neutron.
You know what I just started watching? Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law.
Oh, I watched a couple. Funny stuff. Funny stuff.
Yeah, I watched the female version one, the one that's on adults right now, but it's like that was pretty good too. And Great Pretender on Netflix. But anyway, my man needs to watch JoJo. But going back to
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, what? I was saying, going back to Doctor
really
Strange.
Did a tidbit before I forget. I was looking because I was really interested. So you remember that spell that Wong cast on him before?
The protection.
The writing thing. Yeah.
So I looked it up and I was like, oh, this seems. I feel like it's a comic reference. It is. In the comics, Doctor Strange relies heavily on what's called the Vishanti, and
that's what it was.
Heavy-duty protection spell. But in the comics, it's like Oshur, Hagit, and Agamotto, which is, the what he carries around in his eye.
Okay.
So that was a real cool nod to the comics. I mean even in the comics they make it really hard for anybody to overcome that spell allegedly. But,
and Dark Strange he swiped it off his head, right?
Yeah, he had to whittle it down like in that whole fight.
The other thing was, and I looked this up too, I don't remember reading this in the comics. They talk about the necromancer a lot, and that's who apparently Doctor Strange becomes after he kills Mordo. In the comics, obviously they didn't do that in this Doctor Strange, but
right,
he looks blue in the comics, but he's like super deranged. He's like sucking life out of all beings.
So he's evil in the okay.
So like that's what that reminded me of, like watching that fight. These are little cool nods and tidbits that I really like that What If explores, and I don't think this would have made sense in the real world, like in the live action films. But when it's animated, you get a chance to explore it, and I think that's super cool. That's why I really like the fight scene for that reason, in terms of animation and stuff.
Wait, do they explain how he became the necromancer? Like, is that the equivalent to the Dark Doctor Strange that we just saw right now? Where, he was evil and he was sucking the life out of people? Is that what it was supposed to be? Or
I think so, because I'm looking at it now. The necromancer is the Counter-Earth's version of Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So, and that thing definitely looked like a necromancer by the end of that fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
You need to read up this book, Dr. Jace.
I have the encyclopedia. I'm literally, after this, I'm gonna look up necromancer in that encyclopedia.
So but it's like an evil Strange, I guess. My understanding of it.
Yeah.
And like, I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, obviously they didn't make him look blue like the Blue Man Group.
Right. They did. they did their own take for sure. So there were some interesting spells thrown in that fight. There was some like one where like Doctor Strange like the good Strange blasted the old one, and there was like a white blob in the air, but the shadow from behind him like grabbed him. I thought that was like the one interesting spell. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't see that coming. So that happened. But funny enough, and we'll mention it towards the end, specifically with the ending, but the Watcher, this is the first time the Watcher is like Doctor Strange, being a mythical person as he is, the evil one, he could hear the Watcher in some instances. Like, and it's funny because the Watcher's like talking to himself, or he's like narrating to us like, oh, I could have warned him, but he wouldn't listen. And the evil Doctor Strange's like,
who's there?
Who's there? Hello?
Where are you?
It was unintentionally funny.
No, it was good. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you guys know, I'm sure I don't know if you guys talked about, but you guys know like why the Watchers don't interfere and stuff, right?
Because they just watch, right? Isn't that their shit?
Yeah, they don't mess with the timeline.
Yeah, no, well, that's part of it, because when they used to interfere, these are like a group of scientists, kind of like the Celestials. They're just a group of scientists. They had advanced technology. They gave it to two races. They gave their technology, and they're thinking, oh shit, they're gonna be, peacekeeping people. They're gonna advance their societies. They came back. There was like nuclear holocaust. Like, they used their weapons to like develop nuclear weapons. They wiped each other out. So ever since then, they took an oath to like never interfere.
I'm gonna put that encyclopedia to use. I bet you.
Stop wasting time.
Just scan the book and send it to everybody, dude. 400 pages. Just scan.
No. You could show.
Yeah. Just give it to like somebody to do it.
Like that's really why they don't interfere. They're like,
that's actually super.
No more nuclear warfare.
Yeah, but it's cool how by the end of the film he sees him. He's like, and Christine, she's clearly he beat the absolute point.
He did.
but he's a monster, and she's like, scared for her life, right? Yeah, exactly. She's like, what's happening? And then
imagine from her perspective the sensory overload of the madness going on. Like, you have this monstrosity in front of you, the world is falling apart, your body's turning into some like black mystical goo stuff, you're disintegrating. I don't know, I thought it was kind of funny how just all this stuff is happening at once, and she probably has like a million questions going at once, like
because the last thing she remembered was they were going to get creme brulee.
Yeah,
that's the thing. The last thing she remembered, she was in the car. She probably didn't even remember the crash.
No, she died on impact, right?
Yeah, so it was just like blinking, boom. Oh shit.
But what were you saying, Grandmaster?
Oh, I don't know. It's just it's cool. He's having this conversation with the Watcher, and he's like, "Come on, man, you're like a god. Help me." And he's like, "I am not a god, and I wouldn't help you if I could."
No, he's like, I'm not a god, and neither are you.
You're right. It was good. It was good. Look, well, this is also the first episode we've had the Watcher do more than just narrate.
Right.
His presence is known, and we have a character who sees him, and it begs the question. Maybe someone will. I mean, we've always seen in the MCU people always vying for more power. Here, the Watcher, maybe his presence will be known again. Someone's gonna try to take that power. That's a power grab right there. Someone to watch the universe and just kind of watch it out and don't have to do anything. But or just, will the Watcher ever interfere? This is a what if show. If the Watchers made an oath not to interfere, well, what if the Watchers interfered? You see, there you go. What would that look like? How would that play out? It's a cool concept. I would like to see them play with that.
Right, and for sure.
Actually, that just triggered my memory. And that scene, we know a lot of time passed between the Dark Magician dying and this scene. The reason for that is because the guy, I remember Dr. Strange said, "Oh, I know who you are. I read about you." Which means that after he was done with all of the spell, he must have gone back to the library to read the books to figure out who the Watcher was. So that helped support the theory that we mentioned a couple minutes ago. A lot of time passed. So this Doctor Strange that we've seen right here, yes, we know that he's a couple centuries old, but he's potentially a couple millennia old, because that library was almost infinite. And the fact that he knew about the Watchers, I mean, he must have gone to a good portion, or he was extremely lucky. And I'm assuming it was a good portion, because he must have figured out that there's a secondary universe his universe was cut in half. He must have discovered a spell to go after the other Doctor Strange from the other universe and drag him to his universe and come up with the entire plan to save the girl. So this man had lost it at that point, which would make sense why the Watcher. Yeah, which would make sense why the Watcher was not even willing to help him. Because from the Watcher point of view, he's been watching this man for a couple thousand years, and he's like, "My man, you fucked up like 5 centuries ago."
I've been warning you for like hundreds of years, and your only clue that you messed up is after the fact.
Exactly.
How do you guys feel about the Watcher having knowledge and having the power to do something and not doing anything?
Well, I mean, in this episode, he was kind of clear that he couldn't do anything.
No, he said he could, but he didn't want to affect the other universes.
But
he did say that earlier.
But by the time Doctor Strange already did the deed, he was asking, like, "Listen, please, like, help me reverse this, save Christine, whatever." And I mean, the vibe I got from him was he was basically saying, even if I could, blah 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 blah. But like he implied, like, as if he did not have the power to fix what damage he did. I guess maybe before that, he could have intervened in some way and said, "Strange, stop, stop doing this, you silly goose." And he still would have kept going. But I mean, like, he's assuming, like, oh yeah, he wouldn't listen. Force him. Tell him to stop. Like, what do you mean he has to listen? Just like crush him. You're like 20 times his size. But yeah, I mean, yeah, dude. Look how tall this guy is.
What the fuck? You have like eons of cosmic power. Like, just sitting over there like, it's too late for me to help.
It's too late.
He's bleeding. Do something.
I won't make my presence known until after he does the deed. Then I will let him know. Oh man, you should have started. It's kind of funny because the Watcher, he was saying stuff to us. Us as the Watchers, we're watching it. He's like, if I told him something, he wouldn't listen. You have Doctor Strange wanting to go in on that conversation. He's like, who's there? Hello? Like he wanted to know what's going on too. Maybe he wanted a dialogue to help him understand that the path he was going on was not the best one. So,
but he said that he wouldn't have listened anyway.
He did say that.
That rings true to near all variations of Doctor Strange's that we've seen. You tell them not to do one thing, he does it. They do it anyway.
Hell, the No Way Home trailer. What does Wong tell Doctor Strange right before he leaves?
Don't do that spell.
What does he do?
He does anything reckless.
Which leads to my theory.
What's your theory? We're at this point. No, you hyped it up like
okay.
10 minutes ago.
So what? The Watcher said what? The evil Strange made the universe implode, right?
Basically. So he's enclosed in his own prison, I guess. He's like there.
Right. What if that Doctor Strange, I don't know, seeking out others? Yeah, what if he's seeking out other Doctor Stranges to reunite with them, or maybe bring back his universe in some form or fashion, or maybe take over a Doctor Strange's universe because, like in the MCU that we watch, Christina's alive. She doesn't die at that absolute point.
Right.
Could it beg the question that maybe he's trying to align a different multiverses so he can combine his former one with another? Basically,
when you say he, are you talking about MCU?
I'm talking about Evil Strange.
Evil Strange, okay.
Basically, what I'm saying is that's Evil Strange trying to bring back his universe or combine it with the MCU universe so he can have a Christine. Boom.
Or he can just travel to our universe, kill our Doctor Strange, and replace them.
That part
like you mentioned, like Rick and Morty earlier, they do that a lot in that show where the Rick and Mortys just switch universe whenever their own universe get messed up. So he could do that in the future movie. Because as far as we know, I didn't see a dead body. So that man is still alive.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, he's alive. He's alive.
The insanity of darkness, all he has to do is practice spell. We know he's been practicing reading those books from millennials. He knows all of the content of the known universe. So he has time. And I don't blame the Watcher for not helping him, because from the Watcher point of view, it's equivalent of you watching two ants carry food up a wall. You don't stop. You look at it, it might entertain you for a few seconds, but you don't grab the food and help the ant bring it up. No matter what you say, the ant is not going to listen to you. That's how I view the Watcher art. They view the humans or people like Doctor Strange as ants, things that they just find interesting and fascinating underground, but they're not going to stop out of their way to help you. So
that's one perspective, yeah. They view them as ants.
Yeah, they're gods. Yeah, they're gods.
But I'm not a god. He's not a god, and he likes to say he's not a god, but he's a god.
He's godlike.
He's godlike.
He's godlike. At least to them, because like think of our point of view. Like let's use the ants similarity. If you have a piece of cake and you drop it in the ant form every day, regardless if the ant have consciousness or not, you'll be almost like a god to those ants. You're providing to them. Without you, they will die. But that's the same thing for the Watcher. But realistic, none of us are God. We're mortals. So those other Watchers, just like Ray mentioned earlier, they're just people that are so scientifically advanced that science is as equal to magic from our point of view. So what they're doing could look like magic, but it's just really advanced science. If any of us right now go back to 500 years ago and we bring out a cell phone and we show them a map of the world,
we're burned at the stake. We're burned.
They're gonna burn half the stake, or we'll rule the world. Especially if you know every event. Which, and all you have to do is tell them, please just try to kill me on this specific day, and you're gonna see the moon pass over the sun. I forgot, an eclipse. You're gonna see an eclipse, and that's a sign from the gods that you should not kill me. There we go. That's it. Easy to do. Like just basic knowledge that we all have, like things like the Black Plague kill millions in Europe. You just have to carry a bag of penicillin in your bag, cure the royal family of Europe, and you're rolling in money, and they think you're God. So they would think it's magic, but it's science. It's the same thing with the Watcher. They're not gods. It's just advanced, smart beings that are just scientifically advanced.
You use that penicillin example, but like COVID vaccines are pretty available, and like a lot of people don't want to take it.
There we go. People don't listen.
We went from talking about the Watcher and Doctor Strange to using penicillin to save the Black Plague from the.
My dude, symbolism, God-like symbolism.
Yes,
that was the point.
It all ties together. It all ties together.
Yeah.
All right.
But
so
I'm excited.
We tied this into Multiverse of Madness. We see how this might play into Spider-Man as well in No Way Home. Kind of, because we could potentially see this Doctor Strange again. For all we know, that was the evil Doctor Strange that pushed Peter into the astral plane. Maybe just shaved down.
Be careful what you wish for, Parker.
And there you go.
That was a very ominous voice.
That was very ominous. So it could be him. You never know. My final question for you guys now, we always do this at the end of every episode. What ranking do you give episode 4 of What If? So just as a recap, I think most of us were on the same page. We gave episode 2 a 10. Episode 1, we were kind of in the 7
average
area.
Of a 7.
Average of a 7.
6.
Right. 6. We had the outlier of a 6. And then episode 3, I feel like we were the most divided on. I was probably the most optimistic of episode 3 because I just liked the concept alone, even though the execution wasn't as good. So I gave it an 8. I know some of you were more like 7, 7.5. Ray, I don't think we got yours before. If you were to rank the first 3 episodes, just real quick.
So I'm like you on the last episode. I gave it an 8 as well. That's a really cool concept. Like, what if the people we relied on usually, fucking Hulk died? Hulk doesn't die.
He doesn't die.
Ooh. It's to me it was an 8. The execution was a little weird. Like, it felt very choppy.
Yeah.
But for me, the first episode for me is probably like the lowest. Like, oh my god, it's Captain Carter instead of.
Look out!
Oh my god, like, Captain Britain, watch out over here! Like, no, I didn't care that much. It was like it's a 7 for me. I really like the second one. Obviously, I mean, you sprinkle in some nostalgia with Black Panther, of course. Chadwick Boseman. For me, that was like a 9.5/10. This week,
okay.
This week is like. This week, I like this week too. I like it. Did anybody expect Strange to die? I didn't think they were gonna like end the way it did.
Yeah,
I didn't.
This is the first one we've seen where the villains won.
It's a sad ending.
Right.
I feel like that because talking it out with you guys, I kind of was more optimistic, but at the same time, I realized it's like an animation, so they should have done a little bit more with like some of the crazy powers they could have done. So I kind of went lower again. Honestly, I would give it a 9. Listen, that ending, the ending for me. Okay, first off, it's better than Agent Carter. I can tell you that right now. 100% better than Agent Carter. It is, in my opinion, better than the episode 3 because episode 3 had a good concept, but the execution was kind of wonky. Like Hank Pym as the killer. I mean, I wasn't convinced of Hank Pym. It wasn't that good. But this week, I feel like they did a good job with it. Was a cool concept, and they made it interesting in the realm of just Doctor Strange, where it's just basically 2 Doctor Stranges and the Ancient One and the Dark Magician Man, and that's it. So you have these characters being the main focus, and the ending to me made it that much better. Like, it's not better than Star-Lord and T'Challa because that just did so much. Like we said earlier, it was juggling a lot. It was a solid episode with multiple characters and multiple what if scenarios. But for this one, I feel like just the sad ending on its own and just the good guys lost. I thought that was pretty neat. And I was kind of, I was emotionally invested of Doctor Strange trying to save Christine. I probably didn't care about Christine from the movies, but I guess I cared about his plight in this episode to save her. And that's something that we haven't really gotten in What If so far. Like, we haven't gotten that emotional string, like I guess that emotional theme to go on for the episode. So for me, I would say a 9. Earlier, I was thinking like 9.5, but then the more we talked about it, I'm like, it's, I don't know, the animation, it's Doctor Strange. He should be doing all these sorts of different magic spells, and it's a centuries old Doctor Strange fighting a 50-year-old Doctor Strange, and it's like, y'all should be spitting out spells like we can't even recognize. So yeah, that's me. 9 out of 10. I'll leave it to you guys to fill in the blanks for what you think.
It's an 8. It's an 8. Okay. Solid 8.
And that's in comparison to what's your
episode 1 was like 7. Right. Episode 2 was a 10. No, I'm sorry. Episode 1 was a 7.5. Episode 2 was a 10. Episode 3 was a 7. This one's an 8. This one just did. This story was better. The story,
okay,
all the way through, made sense. It was better executed. I wouldn't say it was well executed. It was better executed. And yeah, it gave us it gave us an emotional story. But like we all been saying, there's so much more they could still do. And I want to see I want to see a comic book come to life. So I want to see multiple characters thrown in there. I want to see meetups, matchups that we haven't seen yet, in the films. I just want them to have a sandbox. But they told a grounded story. They kept it,
it was focused.
It was focused. It was about Strange. It's Strange and his grief. I liked it. And Benedict Cumberbatch, actually everybody did a really good job voice acting.
So he came back. He came back?
Yeah, he came back.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was him.
I thought he wouldn't come back.
No, he does good voice acting. He did Smaug and
I did not know that.
The Hobbit and the Desolation of Smaug. And he did the motion capture too. There's actually a really funny video of him doing the mocap.
That's hilarious.
Like he's crawling around like a dragon. But yeah, he gets into it. He did a good job. So I always appreciate that. But yeah, it's a solid 8.
And Rachel McAdams?
Yeah, part 2.
Wow.
Part 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
And then Benedict Wong as Wong. And
okay, I did recognize him.
Yeah, and then Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One. Yeah, they were there. So,
okay.
But yeah, if you're gonna give us a centralized story, make it a good one. This is a good one, but doesn't beat your boy T'Challa. I'm done.
I guess I go next.
I guess you can if you want.
I was gonna go anyway. I wasn't asking permission. I was just making a statement.
Then make your statement already.
You wait for the king. Anyway, first episode, obvious 6. It was bad. It was garbage. The second episode was a perfect 10 out of 10. Good story. We liked the different character, the way they played the character off. It was amazing. Third episode, I wasn't here last week. I don't think I was. No, I wasn't because I had to work. That one, I want to say was a solid 8 to 8.5 because it was interesting to see all of the infantry dying and people losing their mind. But the ending was horrible. Like the person killing them, I just felt like it was kind of a cheap shot, Like how you're the Avenger and dying to this old man, but whatever. But this episode for me is definitely a 9 to a 9.5. The reason for that is all of my knowledge from DC and Marvel come from you guys, particularly you and Ray, at least a couple years ago. And I mean, from the movies, that's it. I don't know anything about those two. So for me to learn so much about the Doctor Strange universe in this episode is amazing. We learn about the library. There's a potential that Dark Magician will appear in the future movie. I'm saying it. We learned the fact that, yes, this Doctor Strange that we have, yes, it is a what if, and he doesn't exist in the MCU, but there's a potential in the MCU they can have this Doctor Strange appear. It would not be out of line, especially since they're trying to mess with the time stuff now.
Right.
And we know they're going to go with the gods and the celestial being later on. we know that they can bring back those characters. And the Watcher didn't matter, but for me, it was mostly the library. It was the library and the fact that we got new lore from Doctor Strange. The only thing I know about Doctor Strange from the movie, like you, I only saw it the first time it came out. I couldn't tell you anything. I didn't even remember that the girl was like in the car with him. I thought that she was in the car in the original movie. But all I know is that he lost his hand. He went to find the Ancient One, became Doctor Strange, and beat the villain. I cannot tell what the villain looked like. I need to rewatch those movies.
I just remember it was the Michelson, Matt Michelson, Michael Michelson. I don't know. I remember that guy just because he's iconic.
Man,
there we go.
Man,
and I'm horrible with actors because I don't remember people less important than me. But but like I was saying, I don't remember those actors. You do it better than me, Dr. Jace. But like I don't remember any of those, and that got me interested in learning more about the Doctor Strange lore because that's pretty amazing. The fact that this man has an entire library on the side that he can access in the movie that we know was mentioned in the movie because you guys mentioned that it was mentioned in the movie, and I trust you guys enough to back up your facts. That's got me interested in seeing future movies. We have Spider-Man coming out next month, I believe, or in a couple months. December?
Yeah, Shang-Chi's this week.
Shang-Chi? Okay, there we go. We have Spider-Man coming out in a couple months. We know
you might be thinking of Eternals. Eternals comes out in November.
Eternals, okay.
I'm so excited for the Eternals.
There we go, that too. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do in that Spider-Man movie because it's going to set up the next Doctor Strange movie. And the fact Doctor Strange can do all of those things, I am hyped to see him mesh on more with time. And I know we all going to love it when they do the multiverse stuff because I know they hinted at Spider-Man being multiverse also. So I can't wait. So 9.5 for this one. Second episode was obviously 10 out of 10. Third episode, 8. And first episode, let's just say, what if it didn't happen and move on.
Yeah, for me, it's the same as same too. It's like for me, it's 9. Like I really like this episode because, like I said, Doctor Strange is so important to the Marvel universe. Like a lot of what we want to see happen flows through him. So I think that's part of why it gives us a chance, like Hosty said, to explore those kinds of universe. And it's so cool. Like we get to learn about this guy that might be a villain, that may not be a villain. Like we learn about this whole library. There's ties to WandaVision, that book. There's these monsters that we saw. Like what else is there? And then there's like, what if he did survive? Because I'm thinking, oh man, what if that Doctor Strange in the Spider-Man trailer is not even Doctor Strange? Like, what if there's
a theory about that.
Yeah, so that's like, to me, that this episode was so cool. Yes, execution was a little chalky, but it was 30 minutes. They crammed a lot in 30 minutes. And I think they did a really good job, given the time constraints they had, given what they had to work with. So, and I'm so excited for how this is going to tie into everything else in the Doctor Strange lore.
All right, Grandmaster, you're too critical. You're too critical with your ratings, man.
No, I'm not. I know what I want. Give it to me. I want it.
They're not. That's a no.
We'll see. I'm not sure who's next week's episode, but give me what I want, or I'm gonna give you my grades, and y'all gonna either like it or not.
Is that your inner teacher speaking, or?
Oh, I guess kind of, a little bit.
Okay.
I'll be like, I don't care if you stay in third grade again next year. I already passed third grade.
Horrible.
But I said the ones who want to go to fourth grade, I got you. You want to go to fourth, I got you. But if you want to stay in third grade, by all means. I don't give.
You became a villain.
I'm not a villain.
Yep.
It is a conscious decision to put in effort at school. Okay. If you make the conscious decision not to care, why should I care?
That's fine.
You're supposed to inspire people.
They get inspired when they see me working with the kids who are inspired. It's reverse psychology.
That's how it works. All right.
And actually, one thing, I would recommend you guys not to read the titles to the episode because I've not read a one title to any episode, and it's always nice going in blind. I didn't even realize what the title, because you guys mentioned at the beginning, I was like, you see, the title gets you thinking and guessing what the episode was. And I had no idea what any of the episodes were, because I always skip the title because I don't have the patience to read. I'm here to watch a movie.
A teacher that doesn't read? Oh, what a conundrum.
My dude, like GrandMasterHoop said, we already passed school. I know how to read. I don't need to prove it to anybody. I just need to make sure these animals know how to read. That's it. So, please, if you are watching this, you're not animals.
I do. You might have some fans from the classroom. You better watch your mouth.
My dude, they're not gonna do anything. I control their grade. I control their future.
Looking like a true zookeeper.
Looking like a true zookeeper. But before we wrap up, no, the reason why I was saying about the title, why reading the title is kind of interesting is because it has your mind thinking one way, but then the episode is something different and it catches you off guard. So like this episode was, what if Doctor Strange lost his heart? And I thought it was gonna be like some magical darkness or something that corrupts him, which I guess it happened in a way, but the title of the thing was like, no, like he lost his loved one. That's like, you know, if he did not lose his hands, which I mean, it's fine if you don't read the titles, but I'm still gonna read them because they're kind of cool. I'm like,
honestly, I never even pay attention to, like, you know, they give you a little box to tell you what the episode want me about. I don't even pay attention to that. So up until I watched the episode, I didn't know it was about Doctor Strange. I really turned it on. I was like, you know, automatic mode, and just moved to the last episode. And be surprised. It's fun like that.
I did not know it's about Doctor Strange. Like, that's all I saw in the trailers and social media.
Honestly, I don't see any trailers for these people.
I actually don't see trailers either. I don't see really.
I follow too many idiots online that post other stuff, so.
I follow like all the Marvel pages, and every single week, like I get them.
They're just spamming that endlessly.
Yeah.
But all right. I would say that wraps up this week's episode of the Yonkō Table. I think you guys have our thoughts for episode 4 of What If. We'll be coming in strong for episode 5. We don't have the title in front of us, but if it's anything to go by, you know, we're excited. We have expectations high, and we'll let you know our thoughts come next Wednesday. But as always, folks, don't forget to follow us on our social media pages at Yonkō Table or at the Yonkō Table on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube if you want to see all of our lovely faces. But yeah, that wraps up this week. I am your Yonkō host, DrJaceAttorney, fellow Yonkō GrandMasterHoop, and returning Supernovas, Rai and Toasty. Signing off. Take care, everyone.